So good morning, everybody. So lovely to see you again. Hope you all had a nice holiday. We're on page 98 of the Shahar B'Tachon, and it's about choosing an occupation and about finding out what is your calling, what do you love doing. So having established the necessity for a person to engage in various means to obtain his livelihood and other needs, the author, Rabbi Bachya, now addresses the type of occupation a person should choose, as well as the proper attitude towards it. So I hope you're all ready. We'll dive in. Okay, וכיוון שהסברר חיוב הגלגול על הסיבות על בני אדם, since it's been demonstrated above that people are obligated to make an effort to engage in the means of obtaining their livelihood and other needs, Navar Atta will explain now and illustrate כי אין כל אדם חייב לחזר על כל סיבה מסיבות הטרף, that not every person is obligated to pursue every means of obtaining a livelihood. He hasibos rabos, because there are many ways, many different means in which a person can engage. Mehen nekalos shetarchan me'at. Some of these means are relatively easy. Kisachora b'chanut, like selling merchandise in a shop, or melachet yad shetarchan ma'at, kitfira u'ichui. Or engaging in types of handiwork that involve little physical labor, such as sewing or weaving, writing, or safeguarding merchandise until it goes up in value, being a guard or security guard. And other examples, as sifrus, writing, itzra mischarim, guarding merchandise, or those who contract sharecroppers, back in those days, everyone was pretty much the village, and agriculture was quite a common occupation, and other workers to work the land, and those who are responsible to oversee workers who work the land. So it could be that you don't have to physically exert yourself to make a living. Mehen, and there are other means, mehen sibas sheyesh bahem yigif b'torach, and there are other means of obtaining a livelihood that do involve a lot of physical work. Ki'ibud ha'orot, like tanning, like working in the leather, tanning skin, or mining iron, copper, and lead from the depths of the earth, or refining silver with lead, or carrying a heavy load, or always having to travel quite long distances, or working the land and ploughing it. Many other types of occupation involved with body. So for a person who's physically strong, maybe not so intellectually, not so intellectually strong, so it's appropriate that he should choose one of those occupations that do require physical work, but only as much as he can tolerate. So the type of occupation a person should choose should be tailored to his personality. And the first category of occupations mentioned above may be relatively easy, but they require skill. Therefore, a person who's unskilled should pursue the occupations in the second category that require hard work and suit their strength. Conversely, a person who's physically not so strong, he has a very strong intellect, he shouldn't try and do something that's too hard for him with his body. He should try something that's easier on the body. He'll be able to engage easier with them. In truth, every person has more of a desire for one type of work, or commerce, other than others. And it's such a beautiful way of saying it. Rabbi Bachya says, Hashem, with so much love and understanding and compassion, has given each person, ingrained in their very nature, a certain love and a tendency and an affinity towards a certain thing. And it's ingrained in his very nature to love and cherish a typical type of work for his personality. So although we said earlier that a person should choose an occupation based on his strength and intellect, in truth, if a person turns away from his greed for wealth and remains content only with pursuing his genuine needs, then in choosing an occupation, he will find that by nature he gravitates toward the occupations that work for him. And so with the rest of life. When it says Bishar Chaim, it means with the other living creatures. He, HaKadosh Baruch Hu instilled in a cat a nature to chase mice. And I can attest to that because when I was a very little girl, I had kittens, and we had 3 little kittens, and the mother kitten, she used to sit literally with her back to the kittens. I don't know if you ever had cats, any of you, but she sits with her back to the kittens and she makes her tail like so. She sits there, and the little kittens have to chase the tail and they have to bounce on it, and she sees if they can catch it well because she's training them to catch mice. Now, it's like Hashem gave every creature, every animal, the instinct and the understanding that this is what we have to do, and to be okay and flow with it. And in the nature of a hawk, to prey on those birds that are right for its diet. The specific birds. Even I've understood from watching these nature programs that birds have a very certain like a spectrum of color that's very different to ours, and even some of them have night vision, that it lights up like ultraviolet. They can see as if you're looking at an X-ray and it's lighting up. What do you call it? It's not hologram. Like radiate, like the light where it lights up, blue light, and they can see it glowing. They're sensitive to heat with their eyes. They can see images and they can literally train their eyes on, or they know that they only see colors of the birds that are right for them to eat, and the poisonous ones don't show up on their spectrum. It's incredible. So it's the nature of a hawk to prey on those birds that are fitting for it. And it's in the nature of deer to prey on snakes. And there are certain birds that only prey on fish. If you notice the pelican, it has a beak like so, and then it has a big sack for catching all the fish in. So if we look at every single animal on the earth, even a little ant, bee, they're all literally pre-given all the things they need to earn their food. And so we have to trust with us. So in a similar fashion, I think this is just such a beautiful learning. It's so lovely. It's just so simple, and it just calls to just open our eyes and look around at the world and see. And so every species, in the nature of every species, all species that there are in life, there's an inclination, and a desire, to the specific plants or living creatures that should serve as its source of food. But love, it's ingrained in them. To serve even the structure of the body and the limbs of each species, they're all specifically built for that reason, for that purpose.
Okay, I can hear now.
Yeah. You all okay till now?
All good, thank you.
Okay. Kafeh ha'aroch v'hashok ha'aroch la'of, like the long mouth and the long legs of the bird, shehutzad et hadogim, like they have long birds and long beaks, like flamingo, they have these long legs. They can wade, the waders. V'chashen v'hatziporen hachazak la'ari, and the long claws and teeth of a lion. V'hakarnaim la'shor v'la'ayil, and the horns of the bull and the ram. V'asher tuchan mizono min hatzemach lo nasan lo kelei hatzayit v'teref. And those whose nature and those whose diet is not to prey on animals, but rather from vegetation, God didn't give them those body pods to use as instruments with which to hunt and prey. So you see, when we observe the animal kingdom, we see clearly how each species was created with a natural means of obtaining its sustenance, and how each of their bodies are designed in a way most suited for doing so, in the most loving and appropriate way. And so similarly, different people are created with different natures and tendencies and characteristics. And each one of us, we have to understand that Hashem gave us that. We're suited for different occupation, and we have to trust that. And we have to not compare ourselves to other people. Oh, she's doing that, he's doing that. I know it's not Jewish New Year, it's 2024 is a solar year, but even though it is a solar year, it's a lot of people making resolutions in the rest of the world. And it's a nice chance for us to sort of recalibrate and say, what did we come here for? I'm actually doing a 21-day challenge that I'm leading for my coaching group of other coaches. And it's a series of questions we ask ourselves every day. And it's about letting go of who we're not and coming back to who we really are and why we're here and what we came for and what's our purpose and what's our love. So it's a very nice time of year to be doing this, actually. I can send you the list of the day's challenges as well if you're interested. So yeah, different people are created with different natures and suited for different occupations. So in a similar manner, we'll find that the various character traits of people and the structure of their bodies are each suited for a different and specific type of business or work. And a person who finds that its character traits are suited for certain work, and he also desires the work by nature, and that his body is suited for it and he's able to tolerate exertion required for it, then that's what he should pursue and make that his means of obtaining his livelihood. So do you see where does emunah come into this? I'm going to put it to you guys to come up with your answers. So this is very interesting, the biological facts. So how do we relate this? How do we bring this back to emunah? I'm wondering if you have. What's your insight here?
I was actually wondering why they're putting this paragraph into the book. People will know what they have to.
Yeah, can you think of something?
Maybe because livelihood is such a huge test of bitachon. Usually, I think for most people, parnasa is one of the biggest tests people experience. And making choices, how to achieve it. I guess that's part of that. Sorry, I'm very out of breath.
What's the line that connects the emunah and the nisayon? Okay, so I'll tell you what is coming to me here. So the emunah is there's a way of doing things in life, and that's why we're studying this. It's because there's a way of doing this life with all its challenges, with all its curveballs that are thrown at you, and thinking, oh, what's happening? Why do I have to do this? I've got to do this work that I hate. I've got to go to work that my parents said I should do, or society says I should do, and I'll never get the money. People said I'll never make money being an artist, or this or that, the other. That's what I'd really like to do, but not going to happen. That's the anxious way to live. Or there's the way where you stop for a minute and breathe and just breathe into, why did I come here? What did Hashem plant in me a love for? What calls to me? What makes me come alive? What makes me feel happy? What makes me feel, yes, juicy, fulfilled, playful, creative? Or if it's not creative, it's something structured and analytical, whatever it is, or I want to be building something. You have to make that connection. Who do you think put that desire in you? Why would you not trust Hashem to give you the parnasa in that thing that you love? Why do you assume that it's going to come from something that you don't love? Why do you assume that you have to be ruled by fear? Can you come back to love? Can you come back to understanding that Hashem is love, only love? The chesed with which he put that nature in you means that the money will come from the thing that you love. And that's the connection. The connection is that one can live in calm. One can live in trust. One can live in faith, in absolute faith. Ani ma'amin, emunah shalema, shabore olam, manhiget olam. Hashem creates the world and runs it in such a way. And all we need to do is look at the creatures, the bees, each one of them. They go to each flower and they hover over it, and their wings are just so that they can fly. And they know exactly. And so do the ants. Each one has got his little job, and he knows what to do with his little tiny ant brain. It's all programmed into him. When we look at the birds, each bird is shaped just so, because this bird is for this. And you think Hashem didn't shape you just so perfectly for exactly what you came here to do? And you think Hashem won't give you your money there? Of course, yeah. So it's the most beautiful, reassuring, and comforting chapter that I've read so far, because it brings us back to why we're studying this. Is that with faith we live in a state of joy and simcha. We live in calm. We know that everything that comes to us, every fear that we have that comes, we have an equal and opposite amount of courage that's already there. with every perception of scarcity or lack, we have to remember it's just a test, it's just nothing, it's an illusion. With every perception, we have to let go of the perception and remember Hashem is abundant and infinite. He has all the money in the world. Of course, he can give you the money doing what you love. Why do you think he made you love that thing? So we can go forward confidently and say, okay, if I went off track and I'm unhappy or I'm anxious, do you know how many people there are going through life anxious and miserable because they're doing something they hate? And they're afraid to leave this job. They're holding so closely to the job, so tight. Because what if? But if they unclenched and realized that what was holding them is not the job, it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu holding you in the palm of his hand, you come back to connection with life and grace and joy, and everything is easy. So coming back to the Sefer, upon recognizing that he's both suited for a certain occupation and drawn towards it, there's two things. Do you love it? Can you actually do it? You have to be realistic. If I want to be a boxer or a pugilist and I'm built like a little shrimpy prawn, no, that's not what Hashem is telling me to do in my life. Unless you spend loads of money on your protein shakes and your workouts and you get there finally, okay. But each one of us has a nature, and we have to have an understanding of reality, how we're built. I personally don't like to be sitting in an office all day. I can't sit still. And I get very miserable and anxious sitting in a chair all day. I need to be walking around. I need to be meeting people. I was very good at being a lawyer. My brain was there. I just couldn't sit still for so long on a computer looking at graphs and tiny little files. Did my head in. So I quit, and I was very anxious when I left. But actually, you know what? Hashem provided income for me in other ways. And I think when you're holding tightly onto what you have, we're in our monkey mind. Has any one of you heard about the monkey experiment with the bananas? I may have mentioned it before, I don't know. So as a marketing experiment to understand what makes people want to buy something, they took bananas, big dish of bananas, and they gave it to lots of monkeys. And then each monkey that had a banana, they took the banana then back, put it back on the plate. And of course, the monkeys got very upset, but they didn't want to be given another banana. They wanted to be given the banana that they held in their hand. That's weird, right? It's the same banana, you would think. Same size. No, they wanted the banana that they had held onto. There was something about the banana that they had in their hand. Because when you have something in your hand, the tendency is to grasp onto it for dear life and thinking, that's mine. That's mine. You know, I don't want to let go of it because I don't know, there's some kind of danger of letting go of my thing. So that's what they use in perfume departments. If you ever go through or jewelry, they'll put it in your hand. They'll say, "Can I show you this, madam?" And they'll put it in your hand or a scarf and want you to feel it, because they know psychologically, you hold it in your hand, you're very much more likely to buy it. You don't want to give that thing back. There's something that goes on in your brain. I don't know what's kind of dopamine thing that you're holding it in your hand. You want to keep it. And so when you're in a job, you're also scared to lose it. You think there's going to be nothing else. But we have to remember there's a million other jobs. There's a million other sources of income. So every day when you make a bracha on a biscuit, we say, what bracha? Do you remember? It's like borei minei mezonot. It creates different types of food. And mazon is also an income. Borei minei mezonot means HaKadosh Baruch Hu provides very many different types of income. So many. There's never a lack. If we go around life looking at lack will come. If we go around life looking there's an abundance, there's always more. You know, this date didn't work out, there's always another man out there. There's always more. We just have to have faith. So emunah is at the roots of our life. Everything that we do in life, we have to connect and remember Hashem is running the world. That's where faith comes from. Now I have to tell you, my lovely ladies, that I've only got 2 minutes left. I've got another Zoom now. So can we leave it there for today?
Yes, Shulamit,
we'll come back to the commentary another time. Tomorrow, hopefully. Do you want to say a quick Shir Hamalot? Or actually, on my phone, I've got Mizmor Toda. Should we do that?
Okay.
Mizmor L'Soda. Hariu l'Adonai kol ha'aretz. Ivdu es Adonai b'simcha, bo'u lefanav b'rnana. Tu'u ki Adonai hu Elohim. Hu asanu v'lo anachnu, amo v'tzon maritzo. Bo'u sha'av v'toda, chatzirotav v'tila. Hodu lo, baruch hu shmo, ki tov Adonai la'olam chatzdo, v'ador v'ador emunato. Bye everyone, it's been lovely. I'm so happy to be back with you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye, darling.